Hello everyone, I'm Wim Vanhaverbeke and I'm really delighted and to welcome you for the sixth, but also the last webinar about the digital ecosystem management. While digital technologies are developing at an incredible speed, many industries such as agriculture, healthcare and energy adopt those technologies too slowly, let us say. And the question is why? And how we can set up an ecosystem approach to properly accelerate the speed of adoption. Today, we focus on digital platforms in agriculture. We have again two excellent practitioners as speakers, but before I introduce them to you, a few practical arrangements. You can use the chat window. You're also invited to write your questions in the Q&A. Please don't write them into the window chat. We are not looking there for questions. So please write them in the Q&A box. This series of webinars will be continued in the autumn in a different setting. And you will be noticed per email if we have your email, or otherwise if you connect to my LinkedIn account. We will also set up a semi-annual forum for those that are interested in the state-of-the-art digital ecosystem management solutions. And also, if you're interested, then leave a message at my LinkedIn page, which you will find very soon on the chat box. So let me now first introduce you the first speaker, Tobias Menne. He is Global Head of Digital Farming at Xarvio. He will be discussing how outcomes can drive the adoption of new digital ecosystems, and he will focus on the case of Xarvio. He was the first employee at Xarvio, and he has built up the company to over 4 million users and over 200 employees today. Previously, he held various leadership positions within Bayer. He was Chief Technology Officer at one of the largest agri-holdings, and he founded several companies. Tobias, please introduce us into this fascinating world of the digital farming. Please go ahead.
Wim, thank you very much, guys. Warm welcome here from my side. Very much looking forward to sharing a few thoughts here and also getting into a discussion. I worked, Wim said it, in the past on a large agro-holding in Ukraine, and it was almost a daily routine that technology companies visited us and suggested some great pieces of equipment, of machinery, new seeds or digital solutions. And it helped me a lot to reflect, why didn't we buy all of this great stuff immediately? You know what, why we didn't do so? Because the moment we bought something, the risk transferred from the supplier of the technology to us as a farmer, as a farming entity. And I did not sense sufficient buy-in and commitment from the technology provider to really stay through up until we had lower costs or higher yield or a better outcome in general. The moment we paid the money, the majority of the risk was on us. And I felt that was a real issue in adopting new technologies. We now, of course, learned from this in Xarvio and said, okay, if it is all about the improvement and automation of crop production, if that is really what digitalization can do, and you see here as an example our Xarvio field manager and the different job steps this Xarvio field manager is improving and automating for a grower. If this insight yet really holds true, it is not good enough just really to supply a digital solution to the grower, but we need really to tie it to an outcome, so that because we felt that is really driving the adoption. So I want to share with you how we did that and what that means for us. So what exactly are we talking about? When I'm speaking about an outcome, For example, I mean yield as an outcome instead of selling fertilizer, or selling a weed-free field instead of selling a herbicide. Or instead of new hybrids, selling a yield increase. And so various ways to play this. But that's what I'm talking about when I say outcome. For me, really important, we are speaking here about an assurance of an outcome. We're not insuring something for a bad event, but we are assuring a good outcome. And of course, this outcome needs to be relevant for the grower and measurable, so that it really perfectly aligns the interest of the grower with us as a tech supplier to that grower. Or put it more bluntly, we want really to establish a shared accountability. We want to demonstrate that we at Xarvio believe so much in our digital technology that we are not shy of having skin in the game. And based on these insights, we said, well, just selling decision support tools does not work. What works is selling an outcome. And we are now for several seasons here globally offering Xarvio Healthy Fields. We are offering very concretely in France a disease-free field. We are technically, and I suppose many real experts here on the call, we are technically offering an 80% necrosis-free flag leaf in BBCH 69. So at a growth stage of wheat, when the formation of yield came already to an end. So that's really what we're selling. 80% necrosis-free flag leaf and flag leaf -1 at BBCH 69. Of course, that doesn't really sound very nice. So therefore we are saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Grower, we are promising you that we're keeping your field free of diseases throughout the growing cycle, really taking all the best practice of sustainable farm and field management here into consideration. And I'm very proud that with this product, we won in North America the prestigious Crop Science Award last year. Now, what are enablers of this technology, and how does it overall tie together in the ecosystem a grower needs? Essentially is that machinery plays a key role. All agricultural machinery is becoming IoT equipment, which works very closely integrated with artificial intelligence like the one Xarvio is offering here. And that's quite a new thing, guys. In the past, we had a connection of a system, of a platform with machinery. And now this connection is replaced by a deep integration. And I want to give an example here with See and Spray technology. So a technology which is enabling the super precise application of crop protection products. As BASF, and Xarvio is part of BASF, we have formed a joint venture here with Bosch to come up with a technology which allows farmers to apply crop protection exactly where they need it. Just imagine, for example, weed management. Currently, we're covering and spraying the full field with a herbicide. Isn't it far more logical that we're only applying the herbicide where actually a weed is growing? Yes, of course, and society is demanding this. Yet at the same time, many companies are formed out of the idea of a competence or as a resource. Chemical company, for example, or a machinery company. They are formed out of the idea of a competence, not out of the idea of a customer solution, right? We don't have weed management companies. We don't have yield companies. And we're exactly addressing this issue with the joint venture here, bringing the competencies of Xarvio and BASF on the one hand, together with the competencies of Bosch, and deliver a smart spraying solution, really deeply integrating machinery as well as artificial intelligence for agriculture here together. Of course, this integration of AI and machinery needs also to really be enabled by other IoT devices. And there are many data dongles out, just as a reminder how important this is. Guys, all of these pieces of equipment only follow one goal: to deliver an outcome to the grower. In my example here in France, a field which is free of diseases or free of weeds. And the advantages for the grower are less risk, much more convenience and control. Assurance that the outcome the grower is paying for is truly achieved, because otherwise we as a supplier of this outcome are compensating him. Clear transparency on cost, what he as a grower is investing here per season. For distribution, this is an additional income stream beyond just distributing inputs like crop protection or fertilizer or seeds, because they can tie the sale of their input here together with a service. Because when we sell an outcome to a grower, it really encompasses everything: the machinery, the labor, the crop protection, the artificial intelligence, as well as the outcome guarantee. It's all lumped together in this one outcome. So for many tech suppliers, it helps for rapid tech adoption, because it's not the grower who is bearing the full risk of the new technology. It is borne by us as the tech supplier. We also bring individual tech elements, individual sensoring technologies, for example, together into one meaningful, relevant value proposition for the grower, where he can calculate a very clear return of investment before starting into the season. Also for us as a tech company, this is a new income stream. The value pool by selling an outcome is not only significantly bigger, but it's also far less volatile than just supplying technology. For our planet, there are as well significant advantages, because we make sure that this new technology, also reducing and getting along with less volumes of crop protection products, is spread across farms as quickly as possible. And by this, together with everyone in the value chain, we are reducing and improving the environmental footprint of farming. And guys, for that reason, I'm so convinced that outcome-based offers offer really additional choice and benefits for farmers, drive the adoption of different technologies, and do a good job for our environment. What truly is a challenge, we need to collaborate here across traditional industry borders. And personally, I am convinced that this new approach, truly thinking technology from a grower, from a customer perspective, will blur the traditional borders of agriculture and therefore offer significant opportunities for everyone, especially for everyone who is approaching this with an entrepreneurial mindset. Customer service and really being with our customers throughout this cycle is nonetheless really essential. And offering a service to growers means to be there when he is working, not when I like to work. So for us, this means have competent advice available 24/7 in the relevant language of the grower. And here I don't mean only Dutch or French or German or Russian. I also mean in the tonality, in the competence the grower is demanding, because he's standing on his field and has an issue with his terminal, and we need to help him out in this very moment. You see, for example, on this picture here, our customer care center, where we can directly mimic exactly the very situation the grower is in his moment, where he is trying to connect a Deere tractor with an Amazoni sprayer and a Müller Electronics terminal, and things are not working. And we can simulate here the different software versions he has on his terminal to really help him out and tell where to press to solve the solution. So this all needs really to come together to improve customer service, to improve the customer experience by providing value propositions which matter. And what matters is an outcome. Thank you very much, Wim, for the opportunity. Very much looking forward for the discussion.
Thank you very much, Tobias. That was a great talk about the benefits, let's say, of precision agriculture. We made a deal with the two speakers that the two speakers would give their presentation one after the other, because they focus on the same matter. And so we're going to have the Q&A afterwards, but that does not mean that you cannot put your questions already in the Q&A box. So please populate the Q&A box. You see we have already 3 questions, but of course I'm sure as you're a very active public, you're going to have more questions after you listen to Jürgen. Jürgen, just a moment, I'm going to introduce you very briefly. I know you already for a while, right? So you're head of the Department of Agrifood Technology at ILVO, and I'm pretty sure most people don't know what ILVO is, but that's a Flemish research institute with a great track record in agriculture and, if I can call it that way, maritime technology. You will be looking at the DjustConnect. That's a digital platform that you have been building up in ILVO, and how to build, let's say, a trusted data ecosystem in Agrifood. I was in contact with your team at ILVO when you built this platform, and it's fascinating to see that not only large industrial companies like Xarvio or BASF can do this, but also smaller companies or research institutes like yours can play the role of an orchestrator in these digital platforms. Jürgen, thank you for accepting my invitation. I can't wait to learn more about DjustConnect and how you succeeded in building that trusted data ecosystem. Please go ahead.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for the very nice introduction. Yes, I will talk in the coming 20 minutes with you about how we created a trusted digital ecosystem with very much a focus on the farm. And also there, I think we go way beyond just the platform that we have built, because the platform is a result of an ecosystem that we have been created long time before and building up step by step. And I will talk about that in the next 20 minutes. Very short, there was already a very nice introduction from me, but I want to say a little bit about myself, because I also see a lot of new people in the participants. So I think I was, or I still am, of course, an agricultural engineer, starting very much from the technical side, doing a PhD in 3D image technology. But from there on, I grow more and more to the management, and I became the director of the Department of Agrifood Technology. And I still think that I'm a technical expert, but with more and more a very big interest in the business aspect of digital agri-food. And in that way, and I'm doing that today, I'm trying to be a day-to-day ambassador of digital agri-food and precision farming, because we believe it's a very big part of the solution towards sustainable food production. And what for us is very important as an institute that is in the middle of the ecosystem is to bring really valuable products or services, referring to the previous speaker, to our end users. And what is also a very important one for us is the adagio under promise, over deliver, because sometimes if we overpromise technology, our end users get disappointed. So this is a very important one for us. Very short, ILVO is an institute of around 670 people. We are located at several places in Merelbeke, Melle, and Ostende. We are still linked to the Flemish government, but we are a public-private entity. We are situated in what we like to call the Agrifood Valley in Merelbeke Melle. There are our main campuses, but as I said, we have other locations also. Very short, I will not go into detail what we do. We have plant sciences, animal sciences, social sciences, technology, and food sciences. And what is very important for us to say is that, and there we try to differ from universities, we are a very integrated institute, and we try to cover actually as one group the whole farm to fork and the other way around, and from soil to plate and from plate to soil topic. So any question you have in agri-food should be able to be solved at ILVO. Maybe let's start with the why. Yeah? Why do we think we need this digital trusted data ecosystem, and also why does it need some acceleration? Because Wim, you challenged me also a little bit with your questions for this presentation. Why doesn't it go quicker with the farm? Eh? Why is this digital adoption lagging behind? Because if you look at it, I can find from 2018 very nice reports all the time on how much money there is available for investment in AgTech. And you know, if the money and the digital and the technology comes together, great possibilities are there. We see a lot of promising technology coming up, and a lot of promises for the future. But then everybody seems to look at it. I think in 2020, smart farming was one of the top #1 sectors for improving our future. There was a lot of enthusiasm about it. So you would be thinking, at this moment, everybody is stepping into this smart farming. We're all joining. Well, yes, a lot of people are joining, but if we look at the reality, our farmers are lagging behind. Farmers, at least in Flanders, where we have the numbers, but I also see it in Europe, are lagging behind. And we did some questions on that. We asked farmers, are you using smart farming? And then actually we were quite happy with the numbers. And more than half of them says, yes, I'm using smart farmers. But then if you ask a little bit extra questions and you ask them, yes, but smart farming, what is it for you? Then it seems that still a lot of them thinks that it's using a GPS or that it's using some basic technology. If you look at the one that really gets smart farming like we understand it, using data, using technology to take smart decisions, to take smart management decisions in your farm, then this is really lagging behind. And actually a big group, 27%, says that they actually don't really know what smart farming is. So a lot of work is there to be done. This was a very interesting survey, and I just picked out one more slide because this is where we are talking about real precision farming, and things like precision weeding, crop sensing, site-specific irrigation, soil scanning, these kind of things. And if you look at the blue and the orange ones, this is the farmer and the contractor. Very few of them go over the 10%, and some of them, like the satellite images, are on the way, but the 25%. But it's remarkably low, if you ask me, still. So we see that the adoption of this technology lags behind, and our end users have a lot of questions. They worry about investment costs. I think this is also clearly addressed by the previous speaker, and they offer very nice solutions for that. They worry about the payback time, the added value. They're not always convinced that for their specific problem, the technology is a solution. They are looking for independent reviews. Well, I put it quite some questions. If you put them together, we come to the conclusion that we need more cost-benefit analysis and new business models. We are good in turning data into information, but not yet in, or we still steps needs to take into turning this information in good management decisions. There is some issues about data ownership, security, and privacy and trust. And still, there's a lot of complexity in the data. Data portability, data compatibility, and handling is still a challenge. So what did we to challenge this? Well, we involved more stakeholders, and especially the end users, and we used a concept that we call a digital innovation hub. And a digital innovation hub is actually a kind of one-stop shop where all players can come with questions for digitization, and they are helped. They are directly surrounded by a network of all players, and you can see them listed here. And the idea is that a digital innovation hub like ours, it's called Smart Digital Farming, solves any problem any actor can have in the system. And I will not go into detail of all services that we offer, but it's about ecosystem service, it's about technology, and it's about business services, what we offer. And what we did is we combined this digital innovation hub approach with what we also call the living lab approach, which means that we involve as many actors as possible, starting from the farmers, but also contractors, the technology companies, the food industry, research institutes, and in some of the cases, even the government and citizens, into the development of our technology and our services. So we start by involving stakeholders, by very well capturing the needs, and then we step into prototyping and designing the solution. And at the end, also very important, we test it in real life settings. We connect it with a viable business model, and we provide advice. And this circle that you see here, we use it in what we call a minimum viable product approach. We run through this cycle several times during the development of our service, of our product. So this digital innovation hub crossed with Living Lab is very integrated in our culture and in the way how we do it. And that means that we try to be, as I said, an integrated one-stop shop where we offer all solutions and services for the farmers. We try to connect people in the ecosystem and bring real valuable solutions. And we show that we understand farmers and that we understand the businesses and their roadmaps. And that is a little bit connected to also to the previous speaker. We are there when we need them. And there it's a little bit the same when the farmer needs support or when the businesses need support. ILVO has to be there to help them improve their products. So what we do is we quickly develop different competences, and we try to be the combination between, on the one hand, the domain knowledge, and on the other hand, the very technical knowledge. And that is the way we build trust. This is a lot of talking. Maybe I have to tell you some, or I have to show that we are doing this in some really concrete use cases. And one of our use cases, and we got a lot of interest the last weeks because we demonstrated it live, is a use case wherein we combine artificial intelligence, 5G, to detect weeds in the field. And this is a very nice example on how we bring the ecosystem together. We work on the one hand with the machinery actors that are developing the intelligent spraying technology, but we work also with companies like Exobotic that develop fully autonomous drone. We work with RoboVision for the machine learning or the artificial intelligence. So we brought together at least 5 or 6 actors to develop this use case. And also, as you see in the middle, we also brought the farmers to understand what they really need and what they ask. And these are, as you know, be there when the farmer has time. Well, these are meetings in the evening, in the period that farmers have time, and you can challenge them with a beer or with a coffee to come and discuss with us. What service do you really need? Which are the weeds that you think that should be detected in your fields? I really hope that the movie, it's only 40 seconds, that you can see it at this moment live from my screen. But this was our live demo that we did last week together with RoboVision and Proximus, an internet provider in Belgium. So the drone flies over the fields, live detects with images the weeds. This is sent over 5G to an AI algorithm in our services, and then in our service, and then the location of the weed is transferred into a task map sent to this machine, and this machine was also, I like the example from the previous speaker. This machine will spray only where the weed is positioned. And what is very nice, because it's a live connection, even we could say to the drone, okay, you missed the spot, or we want you to turn back because there's a lot of weed over there. Please turn back, and we will do the analysis live. The AI algorithm runs live on when the drone is making the images. Well, I'm quite proud of this. We demonstrated this live with press and everything there, and it was a big success. And this co-creation, this is what we do all the time to create the ecosystem. We work on robotics in this with this approach, and maybe in this way, coming to one of our spear points that I want to highlight in the last time of my presentations. We also use this to solve another issue of the farmer. This is the complexity in all the connections and the data sources that they are confronted with in their day-to-day. On this slide, I just brought some of the data sources that they have. They have on the one hand data coming from sensor platforms, from robotics, satellites, or drone images. They have weathercast forecasts. They have all external services, like for instance legislation coming up to them. And then also, again, Tobias, I really liked your presentation because you said a lot of things that we are confronted with. You gave the example of connecting a Deere machine with another brand and the Muller. Well, look, this is what I tried also to show here in my slide, all these different brands and colors. It needs to be connected, and it's a real challenge for the farmer, but also for the smaller businesses developing technology. So also there, they are confronted with all this farm management and software that they need to bring together. And a colleague of us did it for a field in Wallonia, and he mapped actually all the possibilities that a farmer has to use different software platforms and connections, and they were over 40. And they are not compatible or not yet compatible. So this is a great challenge there, bringing all this data together. And this is something that we are trying to bring a solution for. We are trying to bring the data together in a digital ecosystem, and we want to do that in a very inclusive way. We want to involve the whole chain from farm to fork, and not just the big players, but also the farmers, the smaller SMEs in food businesses should be part of this digital ecosystem. And we want to combine it with a sustainable business model to keep the platforms up and running. We want to create finally this long promised portability of data and the data interoperability, but most of all, in the left corner, very important for us, we want to build trust with the farmers. We want to give the farmer the trust that all this data that they are more and more afraid of, where will my data go, that he stays in control of this data. And we want to deliver him data sovereignty for that. And that solution for us is what we call DjustConnect. This is our API-based data platform that is a B2B platform, but that puts the farmer on the steer and the farmer in control of his data. We deliver one data market, one solution for all players. We are an open platform. Everybody is welcome as long as you follow the rules of the platform. We foresee for data sharing one simple contract for all, no extra administration, and we provide our farmers with a very clear dashboard where they can see and follow all their data streams. This is what our data platform DjustConnect delivers. I don't have so much time, but actually we build this with the support part of the European funds, and with also a strong financial support of these players, all of them cooperative businesses in farming or in the farming businesses. As I already said, we want to be there for everybody. We are there for the farmers and the horticulturists. We are there for data providers and data consumers, and they all come together in our platform. A very simple drawing to show how it works. But if an application developer, a third party on our platform, wants to develop a smart app, I'm just giving an example, an app that gives a farmer advice on how to feed his cow in the best efficient way, then maybe he wants to know how much milk does all these cows give, how much feed or resources do they need. They want to bring this all together. This information is in many of the cases not at the farm, but already with the businesses. It's the dairy sector that has the information about the cows. It's the feed sector that delivers to the farms, that has the information on what these cows are eating. So these businesses can make their data available through APIs at JustConnect, but very important here, it is the farmer who has actually a digital button and will say, yes, I allow my data from business A and business B to flow to this third party. This is how the system works, very simple. What I would like to say as a last point is that we are building a regional data space. I mean, we believe that trust grows regional. There is also a very nice Dutch platform under development and also already in the market. You cannot just copy, or we did not believe that you can copy a German or a Dutch platform directly for Flemish farmers. They need to start growing regional with their regional ecosystem, with the players they know and they trust, at least in the beginning. But of course, we realize that this platform cannot survive if you stay a regional platform in the long term, because big players like the ones speaking before me, but also a player like Lely, big potato machinery developers, they will not join every platform in every country. They want to be sure, we are working with AVF, for instance, if I connect in Flanders, am I also connected in France with other data platforms over there? And that is why we are one of the strong believers of creating a European agricultural data space, but a federated data space. It means that we are now working with new technology, like for those who are into the businesses called Gaia X, for instance, there are some developments for the European federated cloud system to connect these regional data spaces into one federated European data space. And that is for us the next step. So we are working with, we are JustConnect in Flanders, but we work with Joint Data in the Netherlands. We work with Ag Data Hub in France, and also Denmark, Finland, Italy, they have data platforms under development, and we are looking in ways to work together. But just to give you one very concrete example that it's very important, a consent of a farmer that says yes to share his data in Flanders should be the same as the one in Germany. If we have to transfer a German data, but we are not sure that they respect the same rules for the farmer as we are finding very important, then we need to discuss about it. So we need to see that the rules are the same. I could talk you many other use cases where we are doing this. This is just a final shot to show you that we are doing a lot more, but I want to come to a conclusion. We believe that this may be fancy term invented actually, I think, by the Commission, a digital innovation hub is really a way to get the ecosystem as well, the digital ecosystem as the real life system moving, because we involve all stakeholders and especially the end users. And it's the only way to take them with us, because something that I didn't focus on a lot here is mentioned here in my conclusion a little bit as just something that I wanted to give you. Skills and training is also very important. Our farmers are still lacking a little bit behind in skills and training, and as long as they don't understand what they are working with, they will not easily buy it. So this is also an extra reason to go on this idea of involve them from the beginning in co-creation in what you're doing. And for us, this is the way to accelerate the development and the adoption rate of this data-driven technology and further digitalization of the agri-food sector. Okay, this is my final slide. You are more than welcome if you can find the very small city of Merelbeke, but it's next to Ghent, and Ghent is actually quite famous. You can come and visit us and we will give you live demonstrations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jürgen. That was fascinating, and it's good to see that not only large companies, but also a research institute who is heavily involved in agriculture the Agrifood can also set up what you call a regional hub, but at the same time you see the need to work in an international way. It's time for a Q&A, and I would normally give the floor to Ijeoma. There she is. But let me just start with some urgent question. And Jürgen, you can stay on with the picture if you like, with the video. I just have so two questions basically where we can start with, and it's up to you who will answer it. The first question I have is, we have seen a lot of benefits for farmers, and indeed, so farmers really can benefit from digital technologies here. and precision farming. But there are also like a number of problems that I have seen popping up all the time when I was talking with farmers and farmers association. One of them is, Xarvio is one major company, but you also have, for instance, machinery like John Deere. John Deere is having the same databases, right? Similar databases. So you mentioned already the compatibility between these databases. And so that is like a kind of problem that I see among farmers is the lock-in problem, right? So once we work with Xarvio, can we still work with others? And what is the guarantee that we can work with others? So the lock-in effect, and is there a possibility to jump out of the lock-in problems? Second is we see, for instance, precision spraying is now done by Xarvio, is also done with the example we have seen from Jürgen, is done, for instance, by a number of small companies, a consortium of small companies. What are the benefits of working with Xarvio, for instance, and working with, for instance, a consortium of small companies? Because you offer similar services, you offer similar products to the farm. So these are like two questions I have, would like to just throw into the discussion here, and then Ijeoma will work in a much more clear way and a much more orderly way through the questions that the audience already has been writing down. Go ahead. Feel free to take the floor, right?
Jürgen, please, floor is yours.
I will take the first one, and maybe Tobias, you can also take the second one. All right. About the lock-in effect, I think this is something very important that we are developing something like DjustConnect. It should allow the farmer to steer his data from one application to another. Actually, it could perfectly say, look, I want to use several applications and I want my data flows from my sensors to go to several applications, and he can stop it when he wants, and he can go into another services if necessary. I try always to be very transparent. What is possible at the moment is to steer your data to others. Getting your data deleted from the previous one is, in my humble opinion, still an issue. You can say, look, I want to stop sharing with this application, please go to another one. But in my opinion, it's not regulated yet or organized that he then really takes his data out of the previous sources. It stays, in my opinion, with that businesses, and it will not be used anymore. But that is still a challenge. There are solutions that we are thinking about, vault systems, where the farmers put their data in a kind of vault system. It goes into an application, it's taken out, and it goes to another one. But this is future development. But that is my answer on how you can avoid lock-in systems. Okay.
Tobias, you will take the second one.
Yeah, pleasure. So smart spraying is really exciting. I mean, isn't it? It is a new possibility for all of us to meet sustainability objectives and probably also efficiency objectives in a regulatory environment which is so much changing. I don't want to comment too much on competitors, but really much more describe the technology which is distributed by the Bosch BASF joint venture. Personally, I'm not part of that joint venture, so I have a little distance to it, but let me share my insights here. First of all, smart spraying, we cannot limit it to computer vision. You know, I believe that's where the industry started to say, okay, just let's take an ordinary sprayer, let's install some computer vision technology there, and let's simply open and shut down the nozzles. I mean, that in itself is
Tobias, we lost you. I think the communication with Germany is somewhat sabotaged.
But probably
we got you back. Go ahead. We get you back.
And on the other hand, for example, in the Americas, we have a lot of new resistance also coming up. So just to say, I have now a standard spray and some computer vision attached to it won't work. For example, the question, hey, what is the growth stage of the weed I see here? What is the probability of this weed being resistant? So all of this from our perspective means means that several things need to come together. The computer vision, the respective chemical or the actuators to really do the job, and an agronomic intelligence which exactly enables both systems to do the right thing all the time. And here especially also, I mean, just imagine from a grower's perspective, currently he's saying, a field, 30 hectare, 2 liters of a herbicide per hectare, 60 liters, done. But how is that going to happen in the future? The grower doesn't know upfront how much crop protection product he needs. And what's the purpose of putting 60 liters in when he uses probably half than that only over the field? So also doing a calculation upfront, which crop protection product to use, how much to use, all of this requires this artificial intelligence. And last sentence here from my side, I'm convinced that these 3 elements, the computer vision, the artificial intelligence for agronomic decision making, and the chemicals and the formulation, the viscosity and everything what comes with it, needs to be really tightly integrated so that they do a good job. And that will be the differentiating factor.
Okay. Thank you very much for the 2 answers. Ijeoma, it's your turn. I see you're overwhelmed with 11 questions. I don't know how far we can go, but it's up to you.
Thank you, Professor Wim. And thank you, Tobias and Jürgen. Very wonderful presentations. We have a number of questions. Our first question will come from Marel Markdad. Wants to know, how did you achieve farmers' trust in sharing data from their farms? Who owns these data? Did farmer cooperatives play a role in the spread of technology acceptance and adoption?
Let me give quickly my 2 cents. So data ownership is very clearly governed by the jurisdiction. So in Europe, it is clearly that the person who is generating the data is also owning it. So that in most cases is the grower. Mm-hmm. Trust, to me, it's about what is the value proposition in return, and is it clear for the grower that we as a digital service provider need his data to deliver the service. And if that is transparent, no issues.
Jürgen?
I don't think I need to say so much more, because I could refer, and I will post it in the chat. What we actually did to get the trust of the farmer is using what we call the EU Code of Conduct on Agricultural Data Sharing by Contractual Agreement. It's a soft law document, but it will move, I think, in the coming years also towards maybe a new format. It's a code that has been agreed actually by all players in the ecosystem, as well the farmer organizations, but also the businesses, the fertilizer organization, the machine manufacturers, where they fully agree on what Tobias said. They respect the farmer as creator of the data, and he is in control. And what we actually did, the rules that are put in that document, we actually digitized them. And this is what our platform does, because mostly, and I didn't want to go in these detail in this presentation, but we present ourselves as the digitization of this code of conduct, and I will post it there. It's a very clear document. It can have some improvements. We also have we are analyzing it and we are giving comments to make it better, but this is a very good starting point.
So for your information, you can of course put something in the chat box, but you can also type answers on the Q&A. Okay, go ahead Ijeoma.
I have another question from Stephanie Broring. Stephanie wants to know, so this question is for Tobias. First of all, thank you so much for your great insights. I wonder whether you think that competition shifts from physical products to platform competition. What do you think enables Xarvio to orchestrate the winning technological system / ecosystem? Second question, what will be the role of the farmer? Just the landowner? No own decision making?
Oh, these are very difficult questions, guys. Personal perspective. What differentiates Xarvio is that we have a clear vision since 8 years to improve and automate crop production, and have developed here a system which is a combination of data, algorithms, and AI to exactly deliver into this. So in other words, to take better agronomic decisions than I as a farmer possibly could take. And in all humbleness, I worked on a farm, and I didn't take good decisions all the time. And I need to admit, as hard as it is, I was supposed to take human resource decisions, logistics decisions, agronomic decisions, financial decisions, God knows what, and I'm spending half of my day in the car. So, God bless us, a computer can do it better. So, so the role of the farmer will change dramatically. And I believe it's a good thing, because the role of the farmer changed for the last 300 years all the time. We will need less people in agriculture. We will have less people taking agronomic decisions. And that's good, because probably in most of the world, we don't have those people anyway.
Thank you for that. We have another question from Fabian Rizak. He wants to know, sorry, just shifted. Okay, this is for Jürgen. Jürgen, you mentioned privacy issues. Could you please elaborate what's the key issues in creating and capturing value in ecosystems through sharing data are?
I will first rephrase the question. What is it about the privacy issue, or is it about capturing the value?
Privacy issues. So based on the privacy issues, could you please elaborate what the key issues, based on that, are in creating and capturing value in ecosystems through sharing data?
On the privacy issues are actually, if you purely look at privacy, are rather limited, because it's about business information from farmers. So this is not directly a privacy issue. The privacy issue comes in sometimes when we connect farmers' private information with location of fields and these issues. Then it comes in, but we are there, quite logically. I don't know if that's a good answer, but we are following the GDPR rules. And to be honest, we struggle a little bit with the recent positioning, especially of governmental systems around the use of, for instance, American services, Microsoft services over with privacy data. So this is something that we are still working on, and it's a challenge. I don't know if that is enough an answer. If it's not, he can contact me separately.
Okay, thank you. We have another one from Terence. Says, I'm curious about the internet connection in rural scenarios. Who is a partner, mobile operator, private network for connectivity? And what type of connection is being used in general? Maybe IoT doesn't require a constant stream of large data, but definitely, I assume a wide coverage is needed.
I don't know who's going to take this one, but for Flanders, it's not such a difficult question, to be honest. Of course, although you would be surprised that there are still a lot of rural areas in Flanders with not enough connection. But at this moment, for instance, as I said, we are doing demonstrations with Proximus on 5G connections. When we work on other technology, we also use like LoRa or Sigfox networks to send small packages of data. It relates also to the question of edge or cloud analysis. If you can do some of the analysis of the data on the edge and then send less data. So it depends. Actually, the answer to this, it depends from application to application. But the broad range is used from 5G to LoRa-like networks. So this is what we do.
Jürgen, I loved your comment, because I was just recently visiting Kazakhstan, and I was damn sure that there is no internet connection on the field, and it was better than in downtown Cologne. But apart from that, of course, there are areas where we don't have an internet connection, and I believe it's a must that digital solutions, ours for sure, have an offline mode, and they replicate and update with data as soon as they once again have access.
Great. We have a question from Atanu. Wants to know, your offerings are similar to outcome-based offerings in the industrial world, which took many years to adopt despite the benefits. How easy or difficult is it for you to convince the farmers or farmer cooperatives, and more importantly, in emerging markets?
Well, I mean, if it would be easy, someone would have done it before us already, right? To me, a simple product solution and a very clear understanding of the market need to come together. What I can say for our Healthy Fields product, it very strongly correlates with two factors: education of the grower, not age, but education of the grower, one, and two, is he earning his money on the field or in dairy or meat production, and far more open if in dairy or meat production. From my point of view, two reasons for that. Number one, no issues of personal pride, really to hand over some elements of his job to an AI system. One. Two, very used to more automation already in the dairy and meat sectors.
This question is from Hans. He wants, does ILVO have a target plan to increase the adoption by farmers, or have an idea which are the core drivers to increase adoption?
Yes, I know the question. I read it already, so I can save you some time. First of all, a targeted plan as meant by we want the adoption at that level by that time. No, we don't. Do we know the drivers? Yes, we do. I think I've put them in my presentation. A farmer is very sensitive for the cost-benefit story. If you can guarantee him, if you buy this, you will win this. And this is something I think that Tobias also fully understands, because this is how they approach it with this service-based approach or this outcome-based approach. So this is one. Secondly, I try to stress also the digital skills and training, because it's a big mistake that because the young generation has a smartphone in their hand all the time, that they're also skilled with a little bit the one step further. One teacher of farmers once told me they all have a cell phone in their pocket, but they're still thinking to do farming like their father does. So it doesn't mean that they are. And then the second, I think also part of it was is there going to become legislation or a driver, if I remember well? Well, then I think legislation is maybe a step too far. But if you look at the targets of the farm to fork that the Commission is putting, they are extremely ambitious and honestly, I think difficult to meet, but you have to put, I like the mission-based idea of the Commissioner. You have to put a very nice target high there, 50% cut in pesticides, 20% reduce of fertilizers, also antimicrobials, 25%, I think, organic production. I mean, these are very high targets that have been set by the Commission, and you already feel that it changes the mindset of some of the players, and the very quick players, also the quick farmers, they know this is the way to go. And I think more and more farmers are understanding that transparency is the way to move forward. The time that you could say, I keep the gates of my farm closed, no, it's nobody's business. No, it's the other way around. I think today you can do business by showing how open you are. And there, maybe it's a little bit next to the question, but I want to bring this message. This technology, this data sharing can also support our farmers in how much they are trying to do good things already. Because I'm now talking from the Flemish system and a little bit from the farmer side, but farming is a lot in the corner. We have the ammonia issues in Flanders, in Belgium, but they are doing a tremendous good thing. I mean, the demo that I'm showing, this is a huge investment in technologies. Farmers are trying to use that, and maybe in the last 10 years, technology created a little bit the public stepping away from farming. They saw the big tractors, the big machinery, but now they can use data technology, the transparency that comes to show to the public again all the good things they're trying to do to preserve the environment. And I think that is a huge chance for our farmers, and they should take it as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. We have another question. This is from Camila. She wants to know, this is for both of you, Tobias and Jürgen. It's about networking and symbiosis effects in ecosystem. Either, can you please describe, list the stakeholders and all the, sorry, I've lost, okay. Can you please describe, list the stakeholders and all the interested in the context of your companies? with no exact names, but classifying them to depict the entire ecosystem of your companies? Thank you.
Not sure if I perfectly got the question. I mean, network effects, I believe, are a clear term for everybody, and obviously nothing new to mankind. To me, what is so new is that we don't have the limitations of network effects as to time and space we see in the physical world, say, compare them to a marketplace of the Middle Ages. And that to me means that we, as we have those strong network effects, it's a call for collaboration. We are collaborating with round about 50 partners globally, exchanging data, enriching ours and their data sets, really all with the ambition to offer a better service to those growers.
But I see a major difference here between Xarvio on the one hand and DjustConnect, because Jürgen was emphasizing the trust and the regional, let's say, aspect of building that such a platform. Xarvio, in contrast, is a multinational, or at least you work multinationally, and you reach out to so many countries, so many different cultural and also agricultural differences, right? So farmers that work in a different way, different technologies and so on. So it's a quite different approach. So the question is now, do both systems work, and why do they work both? Or should we go for a more trust-based regional approach or for an international approach? Jürgen also emphasized that internationalization, if you're regional, internationalization is an issue, right? And is a challenge and has to be done. So I'd like to see your opinion there, because it's an interesting debate, right?
Jürgen, you first, or you want me to go?
Yeah, I don't see, to be honest, Wim, I don't see it so sharply separated. I think a player like multinational players, like for instance Lely in milking robotics, what they need is direct access, as I explained, to all these regional ecosystems. So they will for sure not. There's a business model behind DjustConnect. They will have to pay to connect to a regional data space, but they have to be sure that if they connect, they're also connected to all the others, and that is still a challenge, because I get questions about the technical issues to do this. Well, as mostly the question is not technical. The question is, what business model will you put on that to make sure that if you connect to us and we are connected to the German data platform, that you don't go shopping and these kinds of things are getting there. And then the second one, the trust should also be the same, and the data sovereignty has to be defined all in the same way. And there is still some work to be done, but I don't see so much this real separation between the multinational and the regional data space. It's just that we grow in another way. We are growing regionally and moving up and trying to be available for this multinational approach. And I think they are approaching it the other way. But actually, in the end, and I would like to hear Tobias there, they also have to build this regional trust, because I heard about, we need to understand the farmer. We need to speak his languages, all languages as well, the technical languages as the local languages. So sooner or later, they also are confronted with this regional aspect. But go ahead, Tobias.
Well, I don't have the perfect answer. I can tell you what my father thinks. He's a small grower, and he thinks that what I'm doing is absolutely useless. So of course, when he tells me this, I'm telling him that I know why he's still in farming on our micro farm, because he just wants to get away from my mother, but not really to do a meaningful business. You see, I mean, there are different segments. People think with different logics. And I believe that we will see a very colorful market in the future. Regionalization as to language and approach, to me, is really important. And what I believe we will see is that also systems of artificial intelligence will more and more become simpler. So the human techno condition will be slimmer and slimmer, because simply the systems will become more automated, and they will adjust much more to the individual grower. More yield, more saving, more risk, less risk. I mean, there are a lot of screws we as a human might want to twist in those systems, and the systems will allow this, and therefore really adjust to individual segments. And that's the way how we are overall thinking.
Thank you so much for that answer. We have another one from Camilla.
Go ahead.
She wants to know what's, thanking you both for your presentations, and how important is digital technology in your businesses? Is it core? What are the pillar key technologies for your businesses?
Let me start. Yes, core.
Yeah, I confirm. But maybe I will again do the extra on that. Yes, it's core, but let me tell you the reality that farmers that are start using JustConnect are calling us and need explanation from our help desk what to install, as that Internet Explorer really does not exist anymore, and need to explain to update some of the very basic things on their computers. And that it's, for instance, one of our most important applications, or our killer applications, is about digital auditing. I didn't go into details. JustConnect does not develop applications themselves. This is for third parties. We are an enabler platform. We leave other players doing business on our platform. We're a non-for-profit solution, but we are having some demo applications to show farmer what we can do, and then we mostly work on reducing administrative burdens. If you see that we are actually farmer by farmer connecting and explaining them how it can be done. Not because JustConnect is difficult, because it's very simple. There are movies, you can do explanatory movies, and they get help. But if you see in which shape their computer sometimes is, or their systems are, then there's still a lot of work to be done. And that is not digital, that is explaining digital technology. And actually, I'm talking about the farmer, but let's be honest, also small businesses that want to build an API towards our platform. The issue is not building the API, but the issue is structuring their insight data systems, and that is, there still a lot is to be done, and that is what we call, I don't know if it's a real English word, we call it evangelization. We need to go out and explain how it can be done, show with demonstrations how really it is better to do a digital auditing than having this pile of paper. And then, of course, once you convince them, and that's the good thing about farmers, if you convince one, they go and tell the other that that's great, and then we accelerate.
Yeah, that's a good point. So let's go for a last or two last questions.
Okay, my last question will be from Terence. Terence wants to know what the typical age of your customer persona is. Are they already millennials, or are they from an older generation?
Let me start. No typical age. Strong correlation with mental openness. Again, correlation with the level of education.
Okay. Yeah, level of education.
For us, depending on when they have their auditing. If they have their audits, then they realize that that they could use our technology, and then they call. So it's I don't really think, of course, there will be a little bit biased towards the younger ones, but I don't think there is I could easily say something about that. And to be honest, we don't really monitor that either. If we were talking about privacy, it's not up to us to check how old our customers are. So we don't know, actually.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Very good. So, yeah, I know we only have been scratching the surface, and there's a lot more to say about this technology, but I thank you both, so Tobias and Jürgen, for showing, let us say, the participants here, this wonderful world of digital agriculture. I think most people don't even know that this exists, but it's revolutionizing agriculture. I'm pretty sure that companies like Xarvio, but also platforms like DjustConnect will move forward and change, let's say, the agricultural environment. So I'd like to thank you both for the presentation and for the discussion. I also would like to thank the participants. So thank you for being here for 6 long seminars. The appreciation was very positive, and so that's why we continue somewhere in the autumn, most likely with 1 presenter per month, so a little bit slower than what we did today. And also, if you're a professional organization and you would like to be involved with other peer professional people interested in digital ecosystem management, then we're probably going to set up a semi-annual, so every 6 months, a face-to-face meeting, probably in Europe, somewhere in Europe, and probably also on premises of some companies, and trying to professionalize this debate in a smaller setting. So here we end the webinar, but not only the webinar, also the series of the webinar. So thank again to Tobias and Jürgen. Thank you, Ijeoma. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I wish you a good evening or a good afternoon, and hopefully we see you back in the autumn. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye. Have a nice
day.
day.
All the best.